Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Ask BQ on BQ Prime. My name is Alex Matthew and
I'm Smriti Chaudhary.
Fantastic. And we've got a great show lined up for you. Like the name suggests, Ask BQ aims to get you answers to all of your stock-related questions. And, well, let's start by introducing the people that will be answering those questions. Joining us, we've got our expert panel. We've got Mahesh Ojha of Hensex Securities, as well as Shrikant Chouhan of Kotak Securities. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time and for agreeing to answer all the questions that our viewers will have. But as we normally do, let's start with BQ Focus, which for the uninitiated and those that are joining us today, viewers, this is to get you a sense of a particular stock or a group of stocks that is in focus today. That happens to be the Pharma pack, because just a short while back, you had all of the top gainers on the Nifty 50. The top 5, in fact, were all Pharma names. And by far and away, the sector that is outperforming today on a day when the Nifty 50 is down about 0.33% was the Pharma pack. It was up over 1%. It has given up some of those gains right now. But let's start with a technical check on some of these counters. So I'll come to you, Shrikant, first. How are you looking at some of these charts? Over the last 1 month or so, the index has not done very much. But for the year so far, we've seen gains of close to about 20%.
Yeah, good morning. I think most of these stocks have rallied from their extreme levels to almost very crucial resistance level, and now they are consolidating. Like if we go through with Cipla or Sun Pharma, most of them are really doing well, and I am of the view that we should look for adding them on dips. We specifically like Sun Pharma, which is currently trading at 1130, 1135. Between 1160 and 1100, the stock has spent almost 1.5 month, and now I think it is preparing for the levels of 1250 or 1260, which is decent upside from current levels. We also like few hospital companies, and in that our preferred pick is Apollo Hospital, because most of other these companies or hospitals, they are expensive in terms of their valuations. Otherwise, if we go through with the overall technical pattern, then I think NH Hospital looks good, which is currently trading at 1060, 1070. Eventually, I feel that the stock is heading for 1250. Apollo Hospital, it is currently trading at 5090, but there we feel that fundamentally also the stock can move to 5600. But currently it is at 5090, 5100. So technically as well as fundamentally, Apollo Hospital looks good. And finally, Natco, which was like consolidating, is now very close to its upward breakout, and this stock can also surpass the levels of 1000 in the near future. So broadly, we are bullish on this particular sector, but the strategy should be to buy at current levels, because most of these stocks are very close to their important support levels.
Thank you, Shrikant. Good morning, Mahesh.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for joining me in this show.
Coming to the fundamental side, what are the factors that you think will determine the outperformances in these stocks?
Actually, what we are looking in pharma sector, in last 2 quarters, there is very many changes happen. So basically, in pharma spec, Lupin, Cipla, and Sun Pharma are top picks, which we are looking buy in the dips. And what we are adding in the same sector is chemical also. Granules is also our good pick from this level. And I'm adding to sir also that Apollo is also a buyout in zone. So it is a pharma sector where we are seeing is a valuation wise reasonable. So it is fundamentally also improving all the parameters in the pharma sector, and valuation is also reasonable. So it is a good time to accumulate the pharma in the downside and in a lower zone. But if you are looking at the technical front also, that Nifty Pharma Index is also above 50 DMA, and this is doing good. And hope we will find good return in coming time in pharma sector also.
Okay, fantastic. All right, there you have it. So focus is out of the way, but we've already started getting several questions, and we've got Amit Rastogi as well as Vivek, and on WhatsApp as well, a couple of questions that have come in. Let's start taking those questions. And just a quick reminder to everybody else that's tuning in on the various social media platforms, do send your questions in. We have plenty of time, and we will start taking them. Gentlemen, a couple of big names to talk about at the start, because we've got Amit Rastogi, who's asking for a buying range for HDFC Bank as well as Bajaj Finance for the long term. So I will come for a technical check, but first, let me go to you, Mahesh, on the fundamentals. We've had a statement by HDFC Bank that has warned of certain erosion in the net interest margin. We've also been warned about an increase in the bad loans on the books, but this is largely on account of accounting changes. What would you rate HDFC Bank as right now? Would you still say that it's a buy?
In HDFC Bank, we have seen a lot of changes due to cost of funding, also due to some other changes also. So we are seeing some pressure in HDFC Bank. But overall, due to merger also, their NPA will also increase due to some other rules. So if you are looking from the fundamental zone, there is no changes, but some other factor which are affecting the HDFC. So that could, due to that, the HDFC Bank is facing some selling pressure from FPI also. So it's not an issue if you as an investor, if you want to adding from long term view, you can add HDFC. We are very optimistic about HDFC, and long term view is our intact in HDFC Bank also and Bajaj also. We are not seeing any hurdle for the HDFC Bank and Bajaj also in front of these are circumstances which will be adjusted in next 1 to 2 quarters. So basically that will be adjusted, and fundamentally both counter are strong. And for HDFC, our target is 1950 to 2000, and for Bajaj is also our target is 8500.
Okay, thank you. Next question we have is from Vivek Kanodia.
Actually, before we do, let's quickly go across and get a technical check on these two as well, because he's asked for a buying range for the long term. So I'll come to you, Shrikant. Very quickly, can you tell us at what range would you say accumulation is possible?
See, like for HDFC Bank, the stock was around 1700 levels. From there, all the way it has fallen to the levels of 1530, 1525. And since November 2022, the stock has taken multiple times support around the same levels. I think after the specific announcement, which was like due since last maybe 2-3 months, now the stock is very close to its important level. I think 50% one should look for definitely adding at current levels, because we never know like whether the stock will rebound or it will correct further. But in case if there is any furthermore correction, then the stock can fall maybe maximum up to 1450. That's the overall view. So at this level, certainly we should look for adding some position at current levels in Bajaj, in HDFC Bank. And for Bajaj Finance, there also we feel that around 7700 or 7750, it has very good support. It is moving upward to cross its all-time highest level. So any minor dip will be an opportunity for investors to invest, because eventually if the company is going to raise funds, then the book value is going to increase, and that will all add a lot to the fundamentals. So broadly, we are of the view that we should look for adding Bajaj Finance even at current levels and more on dips.
Thank you. We have lots of questions coming in. Next question for you, Mahesh. So Vivek Kanodia is asking that he bought Axis Bank and RBL Bank for the long term, and he's been holding RBL Bank for the last 4 years, and he doesn't mind holding for a few more terms. What do you say about these stocks? What is your view on these, Axis and RBL?
For Axis Bank, we are suggesting to hold further, but for RBL, we are suggesting to book profit in some certain higher levels. Because RBL, we are seeing many hurdle in RBL Bank and many changes. But for Axis, we are very optimistic, and Axis for our target is long-term target is 1150 to 1200. But and for RBL, we are not very comfortable from the fundamental zone. So in a higher level, RBL can be booked for but Axis he can hold.
Okay. We've got several questions coming in, gentlemen. So I guess we're going to have to keep the answers a little shorter than we did in the past. But Muiz Ansari is asking on WhatsApp about HBL Power. I will quickly come to both of you on this, but you have a view, Mahesh, on the fundamentals first. He's looking at the next 5 to 10 years.
HBL, I'm tracking from last 2-3 years. There are many changes happen. The company sales also increased. There is a debt also reduced and almost near debt free company. And we are very optimistic for HBL Power. There are certain other order are in inflow. So HBL definitely can be hold, and fundamentally HBL Power is very strong, and we are optimistic for further 20 to 30% upside in shorter term.
Okay, 20 to 30. What would you define as that shorter term?
My shorter term is 6 to 9 months.
Okay. Does the technical chart suggest that that is possible? Shrikant, what is the reading on HBL?
Yeah, I think the stock is really showing a lot of strength, and after correcting to the important levels of close to 250, 245, I think the stock is again is poised to move towards the levels of 290 or 325. So certainly it's a buy at current levels. Certainly we can expect upward activity in the near term.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question we have from Anil Dahifale. He's asking about Tata Motors. Should he buy that stock at the current level? And does the government's aid on hydrogen fuel going to help Tata Motors in any way? Mahesh, what do you think?
What we are suggesting is buy in dip, which is in the near 560 to 580 range. Currently, something looking some higher level, so we suggest to buy in lower level for Tata Motors. Basically, there is no hurdle we ought to, but from the current market perspective, we are seeing some selling pressure, so it can be accumulated in lower zone. That will be 560 to 580 range. From long term view, our target are intact 800 to 850, possibly in a year zone.
But specifically, the question I think has to do with hydrogen fuel cell buses. And is that the biggest determining factor, Mahesh, or would you be more watchful of the passenger vehicle segment and Jaguar Land Rover?
Basically, for hydrogen fuel, which are taking some time for the Tata also, and there is many certain changes which will take. So basically, how it will grow and how it will impact and how it will be done in the certain time. So it will be watchable for the next quarter and the next few months. So it will. I think it can take some more time for hydrogen also, and basically the technology also is new. So let this watchable how much time they will do for the changes.
Okay, fair enough. We've got a question on Paytm, and this is coming in from Ashna Mehta on WhatsApp. I'll come to you first, Shrikant, on the chart, because I think we have enough data to talk about it right now. She bought way back at the IPO stage, and so she's not really making money at this stage. She's wondering whether there are prospects to hold on to this one from the shorter term perspective, and what level she can look at.
See, like for Paytm, the technical pattern of the stock is now improving on a month-on-month basis, on weekly basis. So one thing is very clear that someone has taken active interest in the stock, and whenever there is a correction in the market and in the stock specifically, we see some buying interest, and eventually the stock manages to cross its previous high. So broadly, after hitting the levels of 900, 920, now again the stock has corrected back to 850, 860 levels. Based on technicals, I feel that at these levels also we should look for adding some positions, because the IPO price was way much higher than the current price. So it is mandatory for any investor to add if there is any correction and if the company is having very good market share. So based on technicals, based on its current fundamentals, we feel that we should look for adding Paytm at current levels. we are expecting stock to move towards 1,050 in next maybe 2 or 3 months of time.
Our next question is from Krish, and he's asking on BEPL, which is the he's asking about the next 6 months. So what's the technical view on BEPL? What are the charts showing?
See, for next 6 months, I feel that again the stock is moving towards the levels of 110 or 20 because the overall sector is doing well. The stock was around 120, 115 levels. From there, all the way it corrected back to 80. I think around this level, the stock is going to spend some more time, but eventually we are expecting upward activity. So certainly, even at these levels, it's a buy.
Okay. Rajesh Exports is the name of the next counter, and we've got a question coming in on WhatsApp from Mr. M. Selvaraj. And the question is, he's bought at levels of 460 way back in 2016, Mahesh. So he's been holding on to this counter for quite a while. He's not made a lot if you think about some of the other outperformers in the recent past. And I think more than anything else, he's wondering whether to hold on. He's asking what is happening with Rajesh Export.
Basically, Rajesh Export, we are not tracking too much, but if you are want to convert in other sector or in other stocks, we can suggest other stock also which we are looking very attractive in the terms of valuation wise. So if you want to convert, then he can convert in Lupin also. Lupin also looks attractive, and there are many changes happen last 1-2 quarter also in fundamental and technical move also. So if their view is long term, he can add Lupin and Granule also if there is view over long term. And both we can see a good return in a couple of times.
Okay. So from that perspective, I would think that the view is a sell on Rajesh Exports and shift to something else.
Yes, sir.
So from that perspective, let me come to you, Shrikant, on the charts. What opportunity would you suggest that our viewer, Mr. Selvaraj, can use to sell Rajesh Export?
You see, the stock is falling consistently from its highs, and now like the stock is very close to its lower boundary where it has spent a lot of time since 2020. So like whenever there is a fall in the stock, it has fallen to 500 levels and it rebounded back to 1000. So it's very difficult to say that what will be the next trending or trading pattern for the stock. But yes, I think the overall formation is suggesting us that the stock is going to spend some more time around these levels. So it is always better to come out of such stocks where the volatility is very, very high. And there are like number of companies in the BFSI sector, in the pharma sector to look for. So certainly at current levels, it's a sell. I think there are like number of companies, but we specifically like Manappuram, which is currently quoting at 148, 149. There the pattern is suggesting us that it is heading for the levels of maybe 160 or 175 in the near term. So at these levels, it is better to exit out of Rajesh Export and shift into Manappuram.
Thank you. The next question is from Anil Dahifale. He's asking about Aditya Birla Capital. He bought about 500 shares at 110. The share is about 2% up today and has given 14% gains in the year-to-date performance. So, Mahesh, what is your view on that? What do you think? What are the fundamentals that may drive the stock ahead?
For Aditya Birla Capital, we are in fundamental view, and other view we are very optimistic about Aditya Birla Capital. And we can see there is all the sector in insurance sector, in other NBFC sector, in other sector. They're growing slowly but and steady. But we can see value by there, and we can see 240 to 260 level in 3 to 6 months prospectively. But it will be current level, it will be buy on lower. But from perspective that we can see some more buying in current level too. But if any see dip in the Aditya Birla Capital, it can be added.
Okay. It gives me a lot of happiness to come across questions like this because we've got Tara Sharma, who bought LG at levels of 58, gentlemen, back in April 2020. And the stock is currently at over 500 LG equipments. She's asking whether to hold for the long term or to sell, but she's asking also for a target and a stop loss. So I guess this is a question based on the technicals. What's the view, Shrikant, on the charts?
See, for LG equipment, again, the technical pattern is like very clearly suggesting us that it is heading higher. The reason is because on a weekly, monthly basis, the stock is forming continuation formations, which is an indication of consistent interest from investors at each decline in the market or in the stock. I think at these levels, the crucial level is 400. Currently, it is at 500, but I think we need to keep a deep stop loss, because if there is any correction in the market or in the mid-cap companies, then it should not break the stop loss. So stop loss should be perfect. So I think it should not break for 400. That's the overall view based on technicals. But eventually, I think it is heading for the levels of 650 or 670. So certainly, it's a hold at current levels, because see, the investor has bought at what, 50-60 rupees. So it's a deep in the money sort of investment. So there is no as such any hurry to exit out of the investments. I think the overall sector is doing well, and it is heading for the levels of at least 20-25% higher from current levels.
But I'm sorry, I may have missed it, but did you mention a stop loss?
Yeah, we can keep stop loss at 400 rupees, which is deep from current levels. But I think in case if there is any correction, then the stock can even fall to those levels. So that's the reason I think it is better to keep a deeper stop loss for a better target on the high side.
Got it.
The next question is from Rajesh Maheshwari. He is holding Action Construction and he bought at 360 levels. The stock is currently trading at 703. What do you think, Mahesh, is your view on that, and any fundamentals that are going to define the stock even further? And what is your view in the short and medium term?
For Action Construction, basically we are not tracking the fundamentals, and from the technical view, I can suggest he can keep stop loss of 660 and for the target for 725 to 740 levels. And if closing above the 760 level, it can be further upside. But from fundamental view, we are not tracking the Action Construction.
Vinayak Shevare has got a question on State Bank of India, actually, this is SBI Life. He's bought 1,000 shares of SBI Life for 900 rupees 2 years back, and that's quite a significant quantum that he's purchased. He's asking whether he should hold or exit. Mahesh, on the fundamentals, I think a lot has been said about life insurance companies, and if I'm not mistaken, according to the latest data, you had SBI Life take more market share in the recent past, right? It is taking more market share as we speak. What's the view on this particular count?
For SBI Life, he can hold the stocks with for 1,450 to 1,500 levels. And we are very optimistic about the SBI Life and for SBI also. So both counter we are tracking very closely, and the both counter we are very optimistic about the both counter. Fundamentally, both counter are strong, and he can hold the for the 1 year to 2 year view. We are not see any hurdle for the any panic in the counter for the same. He can hold easily, and he will make money in short in SBI Life.
Okay. We're nearing the end, but then this is a very important counter in the context of recent developments, so I'm still going to take it. Kedar is asking on WhatsApp about Vedanta. Gentlemen, both of you. Mahesh, based on everything that you've heard in the recent past, would you give it an avoid? What is the advice that you would give to people that are holding on to the stock right now?
Basically, for Vedanta, we are avoiding for a certain time. For Vedanta, they are not from depth side. We are not comfortable for Vedanta. So still we are on sideways for and avoiding the counter until unless the things are not improving in the counter. We are very sidelined for the same.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for all of the answers that you gave. And viewers, we are completely out of time on this particular edition, but I do want to tell you that we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. live to take more questions. So I'd invite you to join us then. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this show from Smriti and myself. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up over the course of the day. This is BQ Prime.